And then the intro can be me figuring out my fucking thing. All right, so for legal reasons, we are recording now.
For legal reasons.
There we go.
For legal reasons, I'm
There's a
putting
legal.
on my anti-manipulation glasses.
Anti-manipulation.
Why does it just say that?
I feel like I could see into other people's future when I wear these.
Ooh, no spoilers.
Hey, Steak, what color does my banana look like? with those
Spoilers.
glasses on?
Your banana looks yellowish pink and orange and blue. There's 5 versions of you. They're all fat.
Damn.
I've had one vape in my entire life, and I came home with it after a summer party with work. Don't know how I got it, but it just sat in my pocket, and it sat in my room upstairs. I don't vape, but every so often I just want to blow a little cloud up, like, and just fucking blow, like, fill my room up with vape, and I'm like, yay!
Do it. Feed the addiction.
Yeah, and I
had a hell of a
It's
stream.
it's a great time, I promise.
yeah, I have zero like addiction to it. I just sometimes like to see the smoke, or the steam, or whatever, the vapor, whatever you want to call it. I'm like, I don't even breathe it in. Literally just inhale as much as possible so I can breathe out as much vape as possible. What is it called? Vapor?
Yeah, I guess.
What's the lore?
I think the
What's
technical
the
term is
lore?
cloud.
When I used to use like my mod, I remember I used to have this shitty Dodge Neon because I just gotten out of the army and I didn't have all the money in the world. I just needed a car, so I got this old Dodge Neon for like $2,000, and I used to fill it up with vape smoke to hotbox or just fill it because I thought it'd be cool when I got to where I was going to open the door and smoke would
Just
come
let the
out.
Smoke come out. Yeah.
Yeah, so I filled it up. I like drove to my dad's house. It was like a 20-minute drive. I get there and I call him. I'm like, meet me outside. I'm almost there. So he's like waiting in the front yard. I pull into the driveway, open the door, and like step out awkwardly of this because it's a Dodge fucking Neon, and all the like smoke or whatever comes out behind me. And my dad's like,
Why?
Are you okay? He's like, I haven't seen you in a while. You're not? Is everything all right? And I was like, everything's great. Look, I got a great new job. Look at my new car. And he was like, you're vaping. He didn't talk about anything else. He was like, you loser ass, you idiot. You came to my house and fucking thought a vape cloud was a cool entrance. He was embarrassed. Milk wasn't a good idea.
All right.
Oh my god, there he is. Holy shit.
I VOD ninja'd back
There you go,
into
you're
my
on
own
better now.
computer again because that's the strat, I guess.
Hey!
Fuck using my actual camera.
Wow.
We're
I have a
streaming
serious
video to
question.
myself.
Out
Alrighty.
of all the bananas you've seen in the world, on a scale from 1 to 10, how attractive would I be compared to all bananas that you've already seen?
All bananas total, you're like literally top 2 in the world.
I hate
Yeah.
bananas.
Top
They're very
one.
passionate.
right behind Peely.
Oh, Peely.
Now,
That's
fuck
fair.
Peely.
Come
Number
for your
1 is the
Fortnite
peanut butter
ass.
jelly time banana from the
Oh.
internet video.
From the infamous peanut butter jelly
I don't
video.
think
Is that the one
Okay.
you're referring to?
Have you guys been on
Those
the
fat
internet
clouds.
before? All right, how's that for fucking cold open? Welcome to the LSF Podcast. Joined today by our biggest guest to date. Something I didn't know when I booked these guests. They're bigger than Stans. We've peaked. There's no need for the podcast to go on past this.
Are we bigger than Stan?
You are. He's got 140 on YouTube. You guys have 160. So,
We have 190 actually.
oh, you guys have gone up 30 since I booked you guys to come on.
Yeah, we're scheduled to hit like 200K by the end of the month.
Let's go.
That's
Yeah.
right, guys. We're now the TheCantripCast. podcast.
But yeah, so how this all came about. 1, Paul is a mod for me, and he also runs everything for TheCantripCast. So when I first got into streaming, like literally had done maybe 4 streams ever, he was like, hey, you should do a stream with TheCantripCast. And we did. And I had these two chuckle fucks on for, we did a Christmas themed one-off called Rolling Around the Christmas Tree, which definitely has been uploaded to my VOD channel. I promise. Smile.
There was one other guy.
And there was Midnight
Yeah,
was
there
here.
somebody
Yeah.
else, yeah.
Huge of soul.
Awkwardly handsome kid.
Yes. Getting harassed by the chat comically.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you guys! I remember that you guys all had fucking
Yeah,
guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the blickies.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was all these guys, and they didn't even like. They knew that I was a player. They just did not fucking include me in any of the character creation. So these guys all had like guns and a plan, and my character was just like
Oh.
What's your
We-
backstory? Dropped on head too many times. Very excited. Very motivated. I just
Isn't
played
that
it.
wasn't that the one shot when the snowmobile came to life? Wasn't
Yes,
that the one?
we made the
Yeah, that's the
TikTok. I
one.
was so proud of
Yeah.
us.
Oh my god, that was so
That was awesome.
stupid.
we
It was awesome.
It was
if it makes you feel
man.
any better, it wouldn't have mattered if you were included in the character creation. That'll all just happen.
I
I
just
don't think
wanna-
we meant to have guns.
Oh, really?
No,
Yeah, I don't know. I think Midnight was obsessed with the word
Blicky.
Blicky.
Yep.
and that's just why, and
Yeah,
that's just
I
why
agree.
it became a thing.
Yeah, all spells
even-
became blickies.
I didn't know what a blicky was, so they're like, I pull out my blicky, and I was like, it's Leviosa. What the fucking spells you're using, man?
But yeah, and so then a couple of weeks ago, we did a D&D tier list, and we kind of like started talking a lot about D&D. I was like, hey, we should just stop talking about D&D and do a whole D&D episode because I know some D&D guys. And here we are.
Weird.
So of course, as we all know, I'm our host with the most, NoticeTheZ, joined by our lovely guests, Brandon the DM, and today's sponsor, Stake.com. Woo!
Let's go.
Get your gambas in today. Get it twisted, chat. You will win. Gambling is an investment.
That's
Will
why
be
we don't stream the
illegal.
podcast anymore.
Yeah.
Will be
Uh,
illegal by Sunday. That does not mean it's bad. It means you need to get your money in now.
So true. And then I guess
winners.
Lion Eagle and Curly are here too.
Yeah, we're also
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
But yeah.
we're always here, sadly.
So how's it going, guys? Just how's your week been?
Oh, well, Cotton, it's been long, been hard, long and hard.
You know what else is long and hard? Not me, because I'm short. What's good?
Bananas.
Bananas are long and hard.
They're
Famously
notoriously
not.
soft. Joe, I actually detest bananas. Bananas are up there with like my least favorite foods in the world.
Really?
Like, I-
World?
Yeah, in
Have
the
you,
world.
have you ever had fucking cauliflower?
I love cauliflower.
Is cauliflower a fruit?
Well, there's something wrong with your head.
Yep.
He
You ever
said
had a
food,
Oh, he did
not
say food. You're right. My
fruit.
bad.
He
My B.
said
My BG.
food.
Food, full stop.
That's
It
why I was
just
so impressed by the statement.
it makes me gag. It makes me sick. Like I remember my parents were like, when you were a kid, you loved bananas, and maybe I was just scarred. Maybe there was just a moment where I had a banana and was sick, and then ever since then just haven't been able to. But the last time I had a banana, I was violently ill everywhere. I don't know if I've just psyched myself out, but fuck
Oh
bananas.
yeah, you developed a food aversion at a young age. It's a
Brandon?
psychological thing.
Brent, you are triggering Curly. Take
You know
it
what? I'm
off.
being very
Yeah,
This is a
Be
safe space from
Feel
bananas.
myself real
Oh,
quick.
thank you so much.
That's actually why we have the peely. If Curly goes on too much of a tangent, we just.
Hey, you get that out of the damn.
Ah!
Show some damn respect.
All right, I've
I also
taken off
hate
the peel.
Watsits. It goes bananas, then Watsits, or I guess what's Cheetos, or
Oh
what
yeah,
the fuck
what's
are they
it?
called in America?
We like
Yeah,
Cheeto
we-
Puffs, kind of.
Like
I
Cheeto
gotta-
Puffs, yeah.
I got a decent idea, Curly, of a coalition that you could start. You could just say it's not okay, but the K is just a capital letter K, and it stands for potassium. And you could just be an anti-banana type dude. And I
Yeah,
fuck with
well,
that.
yeah.
Anti-banana
actually-
lobbyist incoming.
You can you
think
can
we need
die of an
somebody.
overdose of potassium.
Yeah, and you know, I was gonna make a joke that I was told not to make specifically right before we started recording.
Interesting. Crazy.
That
He
makes
always
me
comes up. He always comes up,
Yeah.
just lurking in
not
the
doing
shadows.
it,
Do you know who else was a massive potassium meter? Adolf Hitler!
What are you mourning?
Ugh.
Fucking ridiculous.
God damn it.
I didn't start the joke. I just insinuated it, so
No, you're-
someone else is guilty.
You're
He
good.
did every episode. He
Yeah.
really did.
We have a running bit where there is the first podcast we ever like actually edited was because we talked about Hitler way too much. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back and like edit out the Hitlers. And so it's a running joke for our guests to go, like our viewers to go find what the Hitler episode was.
Oh my god.
I think there's a lot of time travelers that have also said those same words.
You can find the Hitler episode. So that being said, our D&D podcast, how's it going, guys? Here's a question you guys have probably never gotten before. There's going to be a lot of, you've answered this a million times, and then I have a question that I hope that you guys have never been asked before. So how did you guys find D&D?
Oh boy. I think the answer is very similar for the both of us, right?
Mine's a little bit better, but we can
So,
group ours together.
I think we'll answer just the quick answer for the both of us, so we can both go individually. I want to say quick answers. We both had shit childhoods.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
short answer. We had
One of the
shitty
only
childhoods.
things that I think my father bonded with like his children was D&D. So that was like a really happy memory. And as I got older, I started playing and introducing it to like other neighborhood kids until it just became a big thing for me. But yeah, it basically started because, we didn't have a PlayStation. But we had a bunch of books made in like the 60s that had really cool pictures in it. So we got started.
Hell yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
mine was my parents were going through like a really bad divorce when I was a kid.
Mhm.
So my distraction was D&D with one of my friends at the time. Like his dad was like, "Hey, Brandon, your parents totally aren't getting divorced. Come to our house and play D&D while they do the divorce." So like I was going there like every other day to play D&D if my parents were getting a divorce. I fell in love with it, and that's where how I discovered it.
Can we
Hell
do
yeah.
an ASMR YouTube video that's called like playing D&D with your friends while your parents are upstairs having a divorce? and we could just be like, I roll for initiative. And upstairs would be like, damn it, Barbara, what's up? Again.
You take the fucking kid! I don't fucking home! Oh,
Holy
shit.
Parents are rolling for initiative upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh boy, fucking awful.
So Dad failed a persuasion check. He doesn't get to keep kids anymore. Sorry.
Doesn't keep kids, has to pay alimony.
You have to start rolling for random encounters and survival checks every day. Sorry to all you dads out there having a hard time.
Shout out to single dads. Any single dads in
Yeah,
chat?
single dads.
I was like, because I come from a single dad, and it was always like frustrating growing up because like everyone like in school we always like focus more on Mother's Day than Father's Day, and like whenever they talk about single parents, they always just talk about like how hard it is for single moms.
The mothers.
Yeah, and I was like, my dad's out here doing his best. He's not doing great, but he's doing his best.
Yeah, I work with a lot of single parents and stuff for a living and stuff. And there's a lot of single dads out there that are struggling just as hard sometimes. It's just like it's rough sometimes. For
And don't get me wrong, I'm not
too.
trying to detract from single moms at all. I just would like to
No,
shout out
yeah.
also to single dads.
Yeah.
Hey, I come from the most nuclear family that exists. It's very hard for them. Oh, my mom and dad have been around for my whole life, and I have 2 brothers. Ugh. So no. I can't relate to that at all. Which I was gonna say gladly, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, usually if you play D&D, you got some sort of trauma behind you.
Speaking of Curly Line Eagle, what's your guys' D&D trauma? How did you get here?
I just watched YouTube videos and I was like, that looks cool. That was it. I got into it much later in life because I was so what I'm gonna say, when I was at school, I was not openly nerdy, and then once I got older to the point where I was like 16, 17, I was like, I can just do whatever I want now because I can just talk to whoever I want online. It's not an issue because you were kind of stuck with who you were with when you were younger. So as I got older, I was like, I could just meet people on the internet that like the things that I like. It's not a big issue. And I went from there, really.
Fair enough.
That's cool. Yes, so I got into D&D when the show High Rollers started. That was my first introduction to Dungeons and Dragons. And then from there, I was like, I want to play this. I need to play this. Like, no one in my local area was playing it at the time. And then I went off to uni and then just fell in love with the game and just like haven't stopped playing since.
Mine is kind of similar. There was this guy in my chemistry class who I thought was like we were like friends, but he was like it was kind of like one of those. It's like, oh, this guy doesn't have a lot of friends, so I'm gonna go ahead and like talk to him, make him like feel like included and stuff. And he actually, what's funny about that is like I ended up hanging out with him more than like anyone else past high school, pretty much, because he would talk to me about like his D&D that he played with his brother, and like I didn't really understand it, but I was like, oh, this seems kind of cool. And then after we graduated, he was like, hey, we're starting a new campaign. You want to come join? And I was like, fuck it, why not? You've told me some pretty funny stories. And then so I just went and I played D&D with him and his brother, and we just hung out every Thursday for like 2 years. After high school, and it was really fucking sick. And I've just been kind of addicted since. I'm in 3.5 campaigns right now. I help out at the D&D club at school, and I just am having a blast. Haven't looked back. But so the thing that like always strikes me as interesting is like I like the game a lot and I like play it a lot in my free time, but like I haven't made the decision that you guys have made to like, oh, I want to be a D&D content creator. So like when did that decision come up for you guys? Like when did it go from just being bros hanging out, playing, having fun versus oh, this is like a monetizable actual actually I guess there's two transitions, right? Because there's just like making D&D videos and then it's oh, we are now TheCantripCast, the company who are like like an established business. So like what was your
Yeah, I
journey into
guess we
content
can.
creation like?
I guess we can just try to.
This
do
is a
a-
ridiculous story
Yeah, a
anyway.
rapid. Yeah, it's a ridiculous story, but it's a good story. I'll
Excellent.
keep it as quick as possible. And
He's
Steak,
gonna
chime in.
lie a little bit,
I'm
but
gonna lie
that's
a
when
little
I'll
bit.
chime in.
I'm gonna lie a little bit.
No, yeah, I'll
Okay,
do that.
listen. So I actually started doing D&D content before I even like knew Steak. I started like a channel called like The Crafty Halfling like in 2015, 2016, and I was making like D&D terrain. Didn't work out too well for me. I got like 1,000 subs on YouTube. I'm like, this is cool, but then I just didn't feel like making fucking terrain anymore.
Mm.
So I started doing a podcast with a few friends, and then in the middle of the podcast, I was playing Rocket League with our friend Greg at the time, and me and him would play duos all the time, back and forth, just for nights on end. And we ended up playing a duo that we were playing against random people. It was actually Steak and this other guy he was just playing with randomly. He just like matched up with somebody randomly,
I
and
was
we
drunk.
kicked their ass. We did. We kicked their ass. However, his
That was
team
the
it
first
wasn't.
lie.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. We kicked their ass, but it wasn't because of Steak. It was because of his teammate he was with wasn't doing anything. So we started demoing his teammate, just like being an asshole, and like Steak being drunk and an asshole in the chat was like, "Yeah, blow him up, do it again, hell yeah, thank you." And then
I was
it was
being very, very toxic.
very
I was
toxic.
very, very upset
Yeah.
because Brandon and Greg are not very good at that game, and we were losing. So that's back when I used to drink, and I used to get very upset at video games. It was very childish, but that's
Yeah.
just where I was at that point in my life, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Fuck, do something!" I just freak out. And then I freaked out at that guy so much. They were giggling and blowing him up, and then they just sent me a message like, "Hey, do you want to be our third?" And I was like, "Okay."
So he joins us as our third that night, and then next thing you know, we're playing literally every fucking night together. Rocket League, because we met this toxic guy online on Rocket League, but we became like really good friends. And through like that friendship, we started talking more every day. And eventually I would tell Steak all the time about the podcast we were doing and everything. And I was like, hey man, like you should come on and play the character, blah blah blah. For a while he didn't want to, but then he did. He ended up making his first character for the show, which was Beans.
Lies.
You didn't want to at first. You were just like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool, I guess. And then you did.
Lies.
Where's the lie? Where's the
Oh.
lie?
All fucking lies.
Where's the lie?
Okay, so anyways, what really happened was we start playing Rocket League and video games, bullshit all the time. The reason that we really hit it off is they had the D&D D&D something in their fucking Rocket League clan
Yeah, it
title.
was our podcast tag, yeah.
And I was like, hey, I play D&D. He was DMing at the time. He starts bouncing podcast ideas off of me. Just like asked me like, hey, I came out with some traps. And not even bouncing them off me, just telling me about them because he
Yeah.
was excited about it. And then it got to the point to where every week he'd call me and he'd be like, bro, this is where they're at. Because I still had not watched the podcast because I could not be fucking bothered.
You didn't
I did
care.
not
Yeah,
want
that's
to.
what I'm saying. You didn't care.
Yeah, I was not interested at all. And they kept doing it. And we'd been talking about it for so long at this point.
Like
I was
6
like,
months, 7 months. something like that. It was
okay,
a while.
damn it. I want in. I want to play now. I'm tired of this bullshit. And he got me in there, and it was great. It was a lot of
Then,
fun.
Yeah.
There's
so
beans.
Yeah, he started guesting on the podcast frequently, and then
Yeah.
like a year went by, over a year, and then like my wedding was coming around, and my best man and I at the time, we had like a falling out, and it kind of like fucked my entire mindset for the wedding. So Steak, fucking like the week before my wedding, is like, me and my wife are coming up to your house for the week for your wedding, and I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yep. Drives to my house. I meet this guy for the first time. He's already at my house, inside my house, because I was already at a wedding, filming a wedding.
Mhm.
I meet this guy for the first time ever in person. He's in pajamas with 2 drinks in his hands in my fucking home. And we did nothing but like we drank, we played D&D and a bunch of stuff, and just like, ever since then became like the best of friends. And he was pretty much like my best man for the wedding and everything. And we continued from there to continue to make content together and keep building on the podcast. And eventually we got into streaming. And then from the streaming came like TikTok and just more and more content we kept doing and doing. And it was really, as we continue to grow as like a community and like just
Well,
as like content
I think
creators.
you skipped over one really big part. The part where you said where it went from hey, we're having fun to hey, this is content. That was Brandon alone.
Mm.
Brandon and Greg both made a TikTok around the same time. Brandon and Greg both started getting big on it. Eventually Brandon blew up and he got so much bigger that he was like, dude, we should be while he was blowing up, we started streaming and we were still really small on that. But a really, really big part of our growth was Brandon's initial surge on TikTok. And I just want him to have the credit for that because he skipped over it really fast. But he did work really hard on that.
I try not to flex that too much anymore because like it just I don't know because very much now like the company is very much me and Steak,
Mm.
and he's just as much as part of it as I am now. I might have had like that initial like that blow up on TikTok to help really get like a good signal boost, but
It pushed us
it did
way
it
further
gave
ahead.
us a big push with stuff. But I
It was
think
nice.
the moment we really decided to turn this into like a business rather than just like content creation like business.
Mm.
Was when we did our first book.
The first book.
Yeah, we did our first Kickstarter for our first book last year. And it went really, really good. And then with the first book, it was so popular, people wanted the second book, and we said like, all right, cool, we want to do a second book. And it came down to like two options, and I think it was like between the first book and second book is when we were like, let's LLC, let's do this, let's get serious about it. Sig and I went to Gen Con to scout it out to see like, hey, like what's Gen Con like? This big tabletop convention. Like, do we want to do this? Do we want to come here and do seminars? Do we want to sell books? What we want to do? And we went there and we made the decision like, all right, yeah, we want to have a booth, we want to sell books, and let's do it next year. But to do it next year, we got to go with 2 books. So what do we do?
Yeah.
Literally while our first book is being printed, we finish the first book, send it to print, immediately start a second book, run a Kickstarter for it, finish it by the time the Kickstarter's is over, and get a second book a month before Gen Con.
Hype.
And we ended up like going to Gen Con. But it was like right at that moment when we hit the Gen Con, we're like, let's fucking do it. Let's go all in. And next thing you know, we've got 2 books, working on a third, and fucking almost 200K on YouTube now.
Yep.
That's where we're at today.
It's like because I know you guys when I reached out to you initially to do the podcast before all our scheduling stuff came up, you had like just wrapped up your campaign like a week or 2 ago. How has that been?
Okay.
Mhm.
It's been good. It was I think it was a really good campaign. I think it ended very well. I know the fans really, really enjoyed it. We've had some pretty good content to hold that, that slot where people were watching the campaign. We've still got good content going up right now as we're planning our next move, getting casting together, getting, a good story together, which that's more on Brandon's side, obviously, but all those things have to come into place. It's all exciting, though. I'm really excited for what's next.
Yeah,
So
we had a very good. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to just ask how many campaigns have you guys done like on stream?
We've done the one podcast game that was strictly podcast. We did a stream game, for about a year with a group of people. And
We've
then
done
we just
like
did
5.
Well, yeah.
We did the
There's been
Star
a
Wars
couple.
thing too.
We did the Star Wars thing. That was like a mini
Yeah.
campaign. As for like full campaigns that were strictly like us,
Mhm.
1 podcast game and 2 stream campaigns. I guess you could pretty much sum it like that. Oh, and we had we had a Patreon game that Steak was actually running where we did.
I was gonna say we've played a lot of D&D.
We played a lot of D&D. Yeah,
We've played a lot of D&D. That's I think we grinded just really, really, really hard, and we just never stopped. It's because we like it too, so it helps being able to grind when it's something that you
we were at a
enjoy.
point where we were streaming like every other night, something like some sort of campaign one shot or something, and then
Not every other night. Every
it was
night.
almost every night. Yeah, for
We
like,
had
for
like
a
one. We
year.
had one night off maybe for like a year. Our wives were like,
ready to leave us.
"What?" They're like, "What are you doing? You're not gonna make D&D work."
I was like, oh yes, we will.
And we're like,
Yeah, and then we're like, you
"We
fucking
will."
And now over here, just like, hey, look what we're doing. They're just like, okay, well, okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see that progression and that progress. It was a massive grind. It was even now, like we're still
It doesn't feel
grinding.
real at all.
It doesn't feel real. Even now we're grinding. Like right now we're doing this. Me and Steak, we're doing this Uploadtober thing. We're uploading a YouTube video every day in October.
I've
We
seen
haven't
you
had
posting about that
a
on
night
Facebook.
off. We haven't
Yeah.
had a night off in 2 weeks now.
Yeah. But in November we'll go back to posting regular, like like 2 videos a week and like like a one shot and stuff. But it's just trying to stay consistent, but yet doing things differently to like keep that like momentum going we've had for so long is kind of what we keep doing. And like Sake said, it doesn't feel real anymore, but it is. Like I'm looking at, I looked at our sub count and I'm like, how the fuck are we about to hit 200,000 subscribers on YouTube?
Mhm.
Like, what in the actual fuck just happened?
It gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is a lot of people.
Eventually we just started finding stuff that was working, and we found like
Yeah.
D&D is very much a niche, like it's a niche category and niche product for like people that want to play D&D, but like
Mhm.
within that like niche category of D&D are like the different niche audiences, and it's like what kind of audience do we want to kind of grow. And after a while we found like our audience. Like we very much like our campaigns and our books very much have this lighthearted, fun, goofy, just fucking stupid style to it.
Mm.
And there's very much an audience for that, for just like stupid, fun D&D that doesn't take itself so seriously, but when it needs to be serious, it is. But it's just fun, It's not super dark and grim and like just super super intense.
I think that's definitely a trend we saw at Gen Con. Is everybody seemed like Dark Souls,
Yeah,
and we were like, if everybody's Dark Souls, let's be Cuphead. Let's be something different. Like we
Yeah.
can still be fun. We can still have a high difficulty if we want to. We can still make it family friendly, and we can still make it fun. And it's a good direction, I think.
Yep.
I guess probably a good way to go as well, because it probably appeals more to people even that aren't interested in D&D. Because like, if you go to watch someone who's like, I run this character because I'm going to optimize this, that just alienates so many people if they have no idea what's going on. If you're like, I'm going to play this character, he's really funny, and it doesn't really matter what the stats are, it doesn't really matter how it goes, we're just going to goof around and do whatever. And like, that just appeals to so many more people,
It's just so much more fun. Yeah, some of the subclasses and monsters, races, and stuff we make are just like, are they the best at combat? No. Are they fun as fuck to play as? Absolutely. And that's like what we really go for.
My favorite character to play has a 6 intelligence. He does
Grung.
not. He does not understand. He's a caveman who found a gun. That's the entire backstory. I thought it was funny.
I think my favorite character recently has been K-Boom. I think I've told you about him, right, Stick?
Yes, you
He's
have.
I have that on the list. What is your guys' favorite character that you've played?
Oh, Steak, go ahead. Talk about. I want Steak to go first because fucking Grung. Oh, Steak's got a bunch though. There's a lot that Steak has.
That's a very difficult one.
That is a difficult one. Yeah.
My favorite one ever is probably one of the ones I'm better known for. Is a character named Beans, and he's a little goblin tiefling warlock, and he's just incredibly fucking evil.
So I don't know if you know this, but Curly and Lion Eagle actually love beans.
Do you?
So the joke here is that they're British.
Well, Beans is actually just I wanted to make a very, very evil character with a very not evil name, but I was like, Beans still sounds a little malicious. Like if someone's gonna threaten you with a food and they were like, Beans, you'd be like, I don't know. I don't like that. Hey, don't say that to me. Say celery. Don't say fucking beans. So I made him. He's like evil as shit. And I wanted to introduce an evil character into the campaign because I find it sort of frustrating that a lot of people play their evil characters a little too evil. And what I try to tell people is there are good and evil is real. There's good and evil people out in the real world. Real evil people don't just go stabbing every NPC they see because they'd be arrested and put into jail and whatnot. Real evil people hide that they're evil. So I wanted to make a character that was evil, but pretending to be a very good character and trying to trick everybody.
He pretended to be a fucking paladin, which is.
And his plan was, if I'm going to be the evilest guy in the lands, why not join the good guys that are killing all the other bad guys? And that was the whole story of him. And he's just like, oh, hello, motherfuck. You are fuck with beans? And he just freaks out and he kills people. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what you were saying on that is, I guess there's a lot of people mistake people that are evil for just being stupid. Like if you're evil, doesn't mean you just want to go and kill and do everything. If you're really smart and evil, there's a nuance to it. Like you know what I mean? Like
it might just work for the IRS.
Yeah, Beans has definitely been like, I think you're definitely your most stable character you've had since on the TheCantripCast.
He's got the most callbacks. I think.
He does. I think
people ask to see Beans more than any other character, and like I thought when I made the voice for the character, I was like, oh, it's gonna be so cool doing these podcasts. And then people really liked the character, and then it had to keep coming back. And then I was doing live streams, and I was like, oh, hello, motherfucker! I'm going to kill myself now. Like, it's just doing the voice all the time. But it is, I love the character, so I'm gonna play that character until they make me stop, probably.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna make you stop though. People like beans a lot though.
I like it. It's
I think
misunderstood.
for me it's a little harder because I've never. I guess the unfortunate side is because I do like a lot of the DMing for like a lot of the main campaign stuff. Is like I've played a lot of characters because Steak's done a lot of DMing too for like one shots and like we'll do like events where he'll do something. And he was running our Patreon game that I was actually a player in. I guess it would have to be either Finkel or recently K-Boom. I fucking love K-Boom. They're both gnomes. I like gnomes for some reason.
Mm.
And Finkel was actually a a shaman, which was our homebrew class that we made. But his thing was his entire reasoning that he was in the campaign was because he ran a shop that sold a drug called Mad Mage. He was essentially just a druggie, and he ran a shop called Mad Mage.
Oh yeah.
But we were running Dungeon of the Mad Mage,
Mm.
which is a module, and the whole reason Finkel got wrapped up in that campaign is because the Mad Mage was suing him for intellectual property. So I was going down to the bottom of the Mad Mage to fuck him up so he wasn't going to sue me.
I just want to say, I was the DM, and I think that was fucking fantastic.
It was perfect.
He was so
It was
upset.
funny because Mad Mage has been a thing in our world for like before Dungeon of the Mad Mage even came out. Like Mad Mage was like a thing I've always had in my world. It's a magic drug. It's like a powder that gives you youth stuff.
It's like a wild magic surge every time you use it.
Pretty much. It's pretty cool.
Brandon called me fucking upset one day.
I was when Dungeon of the Mad Mage got announced. I was just like, fuck.
He called me, and I saw his Brandon. I was like, hey, what's up, man? And he was like, fuck. And I was like, what? And he's like, fucking Mad Mage, man. And I was like, what? He's like, what's it to the coast? And I was like, I have no fucking clue what you were talking about, dude. Yeah. And he was like, they made it every time. Every time. He was just pissed off. It was hilarious.
Because I wanted to put it in a future book. I thought it'd be cool, but now I can't because Mad Mage, it's a wizard's thing, and I'm like, I'm sad now.
Now we just have to call it Sad Sage.
Yeah, but Finkel is very much. He's an anxiety-driven gnome that adopted a goblin daughter who had a high addiction to smoking cigarettes and doing drugs for the use of their magic properties. Yeah. And then there's currently K-Boom, who's related to Finkel, who is he's very similar. He's a gnome. But instead of being like a drug dealer, he's instead a cryptocurrency shill. He has a crypto coin called K-Boom coin, and I only play him during death matches, and I've never lost with him, which doesn't make any sense because I play him intentionally for like the audience and the crowd to absolutely hate him and want him to die. But I always come out on top because I think he's fucking hilarious. They're like, yeah, K-Boom coin. And I'm just like, why won't he die? This sucks.
When the meme goes too far and now you're actually shilling crypto, you're like, fuck.
K-Boom to the moon.
Yeah, so those are probably my favorite two. Finkel probably being above K-Boom because I played Finkel for a long time and had a decent attachment to that character.
I love Finkel.
Yeah, he was always having panic. You'd make me roll for panic. I remember when you were playing Chad the Loxodon in the previous campaign, and something happened to you. You got like married, and I ended up giving you like heart disease, and I had to make you every time like anything stressful happened to your character. I made you roll a con save to see if you had a heart attack.
It is funny. However, I want you guys to remember that these were live fucking Twitch shows. Yeah. So like we'd have an audience, and he'd be like, your wife disagrees with you. Roll to see if you have a fucking heart attack. And I'd be like, really, dude? And I'd look over at him, but I am a showman, so I'm like, And I'd roll a fucking D20. I'd be like, I got a 7. And he'd be like, yeah, you're dying. Lay on the ground. You're dying. And I'm like,
yeah, but the next campaign came around, and he got back at me because
nightmare.
He got back at me the next campaign because he gave Finkel crippling anxiety, so he'd make me roll for panic attacks all the time during stressful situations. So, yeah. We have very
That's
similar DMing styles when it comes to stuff like that because we're also putting on a show too.
It,
you know,
it
for
has to be fun
audiences.
for the audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what's the some? Actually, fuck, hold on. I need to talk about our favorite characters before I move on. Sorry, you guys are just so interesting. I don't care about what we have to say. My favorite characters I've done probably are. I did a Kenku Paladin. His name was Bob Dole. Believe it or not, all he could say was Bob Dole. Because I thought that'd be good. He had a fairly cool story though. He was a Kirin, or he was tied to a Kirin who was like helping out our party, and that's like where he like got his powers and stuff from. And he died and he got reincarnated. And because like it was enough that we couldn't raise dead or revivify. I forgot why we couldn't raise dead. I think we lost part of my body. But we ended up getting reincarnated, and that kicked off a like home rule that I have in every game that I play now, is that if you use the reincarnate spell, you come back looking like Idris Elba. And so I went from being a Kenku to being a mountain dwarf who looked strikingly like Idris Elba.
Got real handsome, real fast.
He did get really handsome.
Hog Rider! That's fucking awesome, dude.
And then another one, because I like to do all of my characters based off celebrities. Another one I did was a druid that was named Miley Cyrus, because she can wild shape because she can't be tamed. And then she was
just the best of both worlds.
You do get the best of both worlds. And it gets better. She has a maul that she would, because she was a halfling, she has a maul that she would use at disadvantage to break in through walls so she could come in like a wrecking ball.
Oh my god.
Everything about her was
wow.
absolutely
Yeah.
perfect. And she had, of course, she had proficiency in performance.
You'd get along with a lot of our fans.
Easy.
They love puns.
Yeah.
I don't know how many one-shots we did.
That are
Where
just
I'd be
nothing
like-
but puns.
I'd be like, oh, what's this guy's name? And it'd be like, Tetris. You're a paladin named Tetris? He'd be like, yeah, I worship the blocks. And I'm like, okay, fine, fuck it, let's go. Hit go live. I'm calling down Galaga. We're gonna have a fight.
Oh yeah.
That's how we used to do one-shots. They were crazy. It was so much
yeah.
fun.
No character I've ever done has been interesting.
Oh, come on, Curly.
Yeah, no. But it's interesting. I had a dwarf called Mazric who was a cleric who was actually just an asshole and pretended to basically be Jesus so that he could take money off people. So it was like do like basic things, like use like stupid tiny cantrips, be like, oh, the ground's shaking, I'm Jesus, and then get money off people as like tribute for that. They'd be like, oh, give me money, but was actually just a complete scumbag.
If I was the DM, I'd have had you smoke to the ground.
See, the thing that I've played the most of is actually like a Pokemon tabletop game, and I had a character on that called Strand who was like basically Moana, which I realized after. It was basically just this really tall idiot who could basically waterbend, but didn't know anything because he lived in an island his whole life and just like walked around like not knowing how money worked and would steal things by mistake. But other than that, I haven't played many other characters because I got stupidly roped into DMing after that, which means I never get to
curse.
play.
Yeah, that happens.
The only reason I get to play is I'm a forever DM that trapped a fucking other forever DM.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm a forever DM with a pocket forever DM, so I'm like fucking protected. I've had a lot of coverage.
Like I had a few friends, and I was like, I really want to play this game. They're like, oh, so do we, but you don't want to DM it. And I'm like, yeah. Cool.
That's how
I
a lot of people
guess.
get started, I think.
Yeah, it's annoying, but it is what it is. Better than
Yeah.
nothing.
That's how you make DMs. DMs get sick of DMing, and you swindle other people into being a DM, and then they're the forever DM. Then
My dad told me when I was like
A young boy.
11. God damn it.
God,
Fucking hate this podcast. Fucking,
That review's going on Twitter.
Snake hates
my
our
dad-
podcast.
No, nobody knows who the fuck I am. My dad told me if you don't like the way a DM is DMing, become a DM yourself. Yeah, a couple years later, we had a couple arguments over Thanksgiving as I had taken over the table as the DM because I did not like his DM style, and I've been DMing ever since. It's like I want to be in charge.
See, the one thing I hate about DMing on my case, actually, you know, Lanigal, you go, you do your thing before I start talking about this. What was your favorite character, Lanigal, you played?
So I guess mine would probably be the one that I played like for the longest time, which was like a full like uni year, which was Fallon, who was he was kind of like, I don't know, kind of like Rapunzel in Tangled, sort of like this like Disney princess kind of like new to the world, the sort of the manic pixie dream girl, but like he was a guy. Who was like from like the Feywild, and then like he was like at like meeting this like new world, where it was like filthy and disgusting, but to him it was like beautiful and magic. So that was kind of like my favorite character, just like the sort of slight twist from coming from like the magical fairy world to seeing just like a homeless person in the street and thinking that that's like crazy and so fun.
What's
That
the
sounds
movie
like
where
that would
happens?
be. Yeah, that'd be fun to roleplay though, for sure.
Yeah, that was definitely the main crux of it was
Yeah.
the roleplay potential of it.
Yeah, that sounds great.
What the hell is that movie? Where
Hey.
where like Cinderella burst from the drain?
What's
Oh,
your cat?
Enchanted.
What's your cat's
Enchanted?
name?
This is the new cat. This is Nymeria. She's named after Arya Stark's wolf, obviously.
That's not obvious. You're a nerd.
How how many other Nymerias
Shut up,
are there?
nerd. Shut up, nerd.
Just shut up. It's fine that you're a nerd. I like the show, but it's not obvious. Now you just embarrassed me. You out nerded me on your podcast. You're the king here. I'm sorry.
Excellent. Know your place.
Yes. You're the one with the cat that has a cool ass chair. So I mean, I should have known.
I
you're
do have the
villain.
second chair specifically just so the cats can come be on camera.
Is it for the cat? You are the bad guy. He's the bad guy. Always has a cat chair, man.
We found the warlock.
He's the BBEG. Is this like part of my fucking tragic backstory? Is he in my house?
I'm actually in the basement. I don't know if you knew this or not. Thanks for letting me stay here, by the way. I really appreciate it. Been falling on hard times.
I wish I had a basement. Well, actually, I don't know anymore.
I do want to call an audible on the topics list real quick because I thought of it.
Okay.
Who are other D&D creators that you guys both look up to, like think that they're actually doing like some cool stuff that's like a bit different from what everyone else is doing, and who do you fucking hate? Let's start drama.
Oh, that's
Well, I don't know
Okay,
about
I'm gonna
second one.
immediately not go to the hate one
That's fair.
because listen, there's a thing that happens when you get so big in social media, and that is stay in your fucking lane and don't start shit with people.
Fair enough.
Well, I really can't think of a D&D creator that I dislike, though. Really.
Yeah, same, honestly. Yeah, I can't really. think of it.
There's a it's a pretty niche spot, so there's not a lot of big creators.
Mm.
And the community is pretty good to each other and around each other, and it seems pretty supportive. So I honestly just don't even have anybody to say anything bad about. I don't think Brandon does either. We've had pretty
Yeah,
good
I really
experiences
don't.
with everybody.
I've worked with a lot of people, and
I was about to ask
really,
who you guys have worked with, if you have.
yeah,
worked
I've
with
never
any.
really had like a negative experience with anybody. I will say there's some creators that I did like. I guess you could say like looked up to or like were inspired by when I was like getting into it. Like XP to level 3 and like RuneSmith were like two of my favorite creators. Like, you know, getting into all of this, you know, because like I'd see their videos all the time. And I thought they were good and like it really inspired. But like, I think the creators or like show or whatever that really pushed me into the creation edge of things, and I think I could probably say the same for Steak too when I bring it up, was NADPod, not another D&D podcast. They were by far like my biggest inspiration for like starting a podcast and a show, and like I always wanted to, you know, seeing these YouTube creators and everything, but like when I listened to NADPod, that did it. That fucking did it for me.
I've actually got to agree. Brandon turned me on to NADPod because I was an old school D&D player. Like I played the older editions. So Brandon would tell me about 5e and I'd be like, I don't care. But eventually when I was going to be on the podcast, he's like, dude, we are playing 5e. And I was like, I'll figure it out. And he's like, well, check out this podcast. And it was NADPod, and I was driving trucks at the time, so I started listening to it a lot. And they're very, very talented.
Yeah, me and him would
All
call
of
each
them.
other every Wednesday after
We'd-
listen to
yeah,
an
we'd
episode
talk
and, like,
about it.
talk about the episode and stuff. It was that good. Yeah.
That's how I learned how to play 5th edition, was watching the TheCantripCast podcast, because I was bouncing DM ideas, because it doesn't matter what edition you know.
Mm.
DM is up there, you know?
Mm.
So we would bounce, and then I'd watch his podcast before I had been a part of it. You know, I'd watch that, and then I'd watch NADPod, and I fucking love both of them.
Yeah, but other than that, you know, there's nobody that I've met that I've disliked. I've enjoyed everybody that I've worked with. I think like the biggest event, like the biggest names we worked with, were definitely like when we did Rolling for Red Nose Day, which was the big event we did with like, you know, some Browns players and like Critical Role cast members, or like Abria and Iffy and Johnny Stanton and Miles Garrett and Wyatt Teller. Like that was fucking huge. So that's probably like one of the bigger events we've done. But then, you know, we've you know, I do stuff all the time with Duke from OSQ. You know, me and him are always talking and doing collabs, and Ian Offbeat
Offbeat,
Outlaw. Yeah,
Outlaw,
we're doing stuff
yeah.
with him. Like, you know, so it's
Jack.
nice to Tales of D&D. He's not doing much anymore, but I mean, like back then, like
Still a shout out because I love you, Jack. Come
love
back
that
to us,
guy.
play D&D. You need to be a monk.
yes. But no, I've met a lot of really cool people, and it's been very enjoyable.
Is there anyone that like you're like too starstruck to like reach out to ask for a collab, or are you guys at the point where you can pretty much feel like you can comfortably reach out to anyone?
I don't know.
No,
It's
there's
like a
people we
weird-
can't reach still.
Yeah,
like I called Brandon a month ago, and I was like, "Hey, is there any way you think we could do D&D with those kids from Stranger Things?" And he was like,
absolutely not.
"No, Steak, we can't." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he was like, "Is there anything else?" And I was like, "No, that's it."
Yeah.
I went back about my day.
Yeah, there's definitely people that like it'd be in theory be really fucking cool to do some stuff with these people, like certain like, you know, groups and creators and stuff. But at the same time, like eventually you do get to a point like in like your content creation kind of like, I guess, like career or like your journey, where, you know, eventually like we're kind of like paving our own way. You know what I mean? Like we're making our own brand and our own like kind of style of things, our own books and everything. And if collaborations come up, then absolutely, then hey, yeah, let's work with some people. But like I'm just at the point now, and I think we're both kind of at the point like we don't really feel like we're actively like looking for people to work with, because not only do we just not have the time to do it because we're so busy doing our own stuff, but like I know from being a creator on our ends, like these, if we're this busy and doing this much stuff, these other creators are just as busy doing their own stuff too. So like when you get to a certain like point, like collaborating with people is like really, it's kind of hard, honestly, to make all these schedules line up and stuff. It really is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
even this coming to do this podcast.
Mm.
Yeah, we set
Yeah.
time aside because we wanted to do it. You know, and we
Yeah.
have to pick now what we do. Like I remember when I used to think I was busy and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so tired." And I'd complain, and now I'm just like, I don't have time to complain about being tired. I have to get online right now, or I have to go do something right now.
Yeah.
So now we only pick to do the things that we really, really want to do.
Yeah. And a lot of it is because of that, you know, beforehand it was like, oh yeah, let's work with everybody we possibly fucking can. But now it's
Right.
like we hit this weird threshold in this point where it's like, oh my God, we have to stay true to our stuff we're doing, because
Right.
we actually have a base, we have a fan base, we have expectations for like our content and everything. To like, you know, hey, you know, like if we get a chance to work with somebody on something, absolutely. If the schedules can line up for the both of us, because we're both just as busy. So yeah.
Well, one, we appreciate you here, Hearts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And-
Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, I
And-
know you guys played last year. You played with us. You played D&D with us, and then, you know, Paul is always in my ears, like, when are you gonna do more stuff with Vincent? And I'm just like, I'm fucking working on it, Paul. Get off my ass.
You said
Dude, I
something
love
about
Paul. Absolute
You said
gamer.
something about Paul earlier. You said Paul runs everything over at the server. I'd like to amend that a little bit.
Uh-oh.
I'll give Paul 67% of the work at the Discord server, and then I'll split the rest between the rest of the staff.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Paul does a lot. Paul does
Yeah,
a lot.
Paul is
Yeah.
fantastic. He definitely set up this connection,
Mm.
but it's Paul. He doesn't miss. This was a great connection. I had a fucking blast when we played D&D.
Mm.
I got to smash somebody with a sentient snowmobile. You don't get to do that all the time. And I played a lot of D&D. I haven't done that ever before
Yeah,
then.
I will say there is one person I hate since we met doing this, and that's fucking Paul. Every time, like me and Steg are doing like a project or doing something or like trying to figure something out, he's like, "Hey, I know a guy," and I'm just like, yeah, of course you do.
Of course
Hey, I
you
need to figure out
do.
this. I know. Hey, I know a guy. Like, How many fucking people do you know? And I really think, and I broke this down to him last night. Listen, I think he's been following me everywhere since my crafty halfling days when I was like 24, and just like leeching and watching and waiting for the perfect moment to come in. He just knew. He's like, this person's gonna fucking spawn something big, and I'm gonna get in on it, and I'm gonna bring all these people with me. So everybody that he knows is all in on this stupid fucking plan to take over the TheCantripCast, and he just knows all these people. And piece by piece, whenever me and Steak need somebody, he's like, I'm just gonna drop this person here, and I'm gonna drop this person here, and then I'm gonna drop this person here, and he's gonna take over the entire fucking company. So Paul, if you're watching,
He's
fuck
on to you.
but I love you.
To
I'm
be
on
fair,
you.
that is an unbelievable skill to have.
When
Be
it-
able to like pick people out like that, and like if he is that confident, goes, I think this person's great, blah 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 blah, and like being able to link people up with people that are in a similar sphere.
Oh, Paul's been
unbelievable
he's
skill.
been such a great resource and
Yeah.
asset for us for the company. He has been fantastic, like with helping us with linkage and just communication and just like how to reach out to people. He's been great.
I think
I
he
second that.
looks weird.
Nice. That is wicked. Let's
That's
go.
a handsome man right there. Has
When
Paul
I
shown
met-
his
when
face
I
on
met him for
camera?
the first time I met him for the first time in person because like I've seen him on face cam and stuff before when we played D&D, but like when I
Yeah.
met him at Gen Con, I was just like, all right, fucking Jack, where's your beanstalk? Holy
Yeah.
shit, how tall are you?
Paul's a big dude. I wanted to
Yeah.
strike him down. I was like, "You're too tall. We have to battle. You're too big to be standing next to me all the time." But Paul's he puts off like a legitimate like aura of just niceness. I don't know if you guys have met him in person. Like,
I have
When
actually.
I met Paul, I was so happy to just give him a hug because he is a really good dude.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Paul
Even though he
lives
does
like
look
20
weird.
minutes from me. We used to hang out like once a
He
week,
does
and then he
look
got busy. And the whole girlfriend thing didn't help either.
Yeah.
Women, am I right now?
My wife is asleep, so
It's Leviosa.
All right, it is time. Can I ask you the dumbest question you've probably ever been asked?
we've been asked some stupid
I've
questions.
been asked some really
Yeah.
dumbass questions.
So there's an
Jake asks us stupid
ongoing
questions every day.
debate in the LSF
Okay.
lore
Oh,
of
no, it's not this one.
Nope, it's not the one you guys are thinking because I can tie
Oh.
this back to D&D. We have been arguing over who we think would win in a fight, a gorilla or a bear. So
Bear.
mechanically, in D&D, the strongest bear versus the strongest gorilla, who wins?
Mechanically in
D&D
D&D.
isn't
Mechanically
real.
in D&D.
A bear would fucking destroy a gorilla 1v1, bro. A gorilla wouldn't stand a chance. Dude, a bear can fucking crush a person in half without even trying. Gorilla's gonna
monkey
want
brain.
kick. And then it's Harambe again and again and again, because these bears don't miss, bro.
Yeah, the bear's just out here with guns.
I feel like maybe the gorilla would stand a fighting chance though.
That's of course you would think that because you hate me.
Brandon the
So,
contrarian.
Before this podcast started, the whole reason this conversation started was because another streamer called Connell Jonald was like adamant that the bear would win. This is the same guy who posted "thick Thanos" in the screen text chat that you were looking at earlier. He
I like
was like,
that.
Sauce.
he was like, gorilla will win 100%.
Gorilla
And then he
will win?
Yeah, he was on
Yeah.
Gorilla Train originally.
And then I came in and went, no, that's obviously the bear would win. Bears are like natural killers; they kill and eat things. Gorilla don't have that in them. And he went,
Yeah.
yeah, you're probably right. Instantly
Bears
off
do-
the bat, just went, you're right.
Oh, I can respect that when presented with new evidence, a change of opinion and from a rational being
But-
should be accepted.
Right.
I'm
I
gonna
was
go with
so
ape strong
ready.
together, and I think the gorilla will win.
It wasn't ape strong together, stupid. It was 1v1, and bear doesn't care. This is not Care Bear.
doesn't care.
Yeah, it's not Winnie the Pooh.
So,
Snap a gorilla's fucking spine in half. So this is a big fellow with a beard, Brandon, and he likes bears. And you don't have a good beard, and you like gorillas.
so I would say things you guys aren't
Is that what
considering.
eagles do?
Gorillas have range attacks. They can throw poo. They can camp out the bear. One of the things that is interesting is that gorillas known for climbing. Bears can also climb. So
Yes.
they don't like have that advantage as they would. But like a bear can't swing tree from tree like gorillas can. And
You-
gorillas are just like a much more aggressive territorial race, or not race, but species than bears are. Because like
Why do you think that?
because bears actually just are timid. That's why, like, if humans
Because
run
they
into
have their
bears,
own
they just make
areas in the
themselves
zoo.
big and then yell, and then like the bears will fuck off most of the time because bears
Well,
ain't got
yeah,
that.
in their natural habitat, the zoo, these fucking apes.
Yeah.
No, bears fucking murder everything. That's what they do for a living. They wake up and they're like, I'm gonna go kill something. Oh, that was
Also,
fun
like-
killing things. I'm gonna take a nap so I can have more energy to wake up and go kill more fucking things. I wish there were gorillas in North America so bears had more to eat.
Also, are polar bears not like literally top of the food chain?
Polar bears are the most dangerous fucking creature that walks on 4 legs. They're fucking
and 2
awful.
legs. Fucking,
well-
they get that too.
Walk around sometimes, so I'm not 100% sure because I live in America and I've got some shit polar bears are not prepared for.
You know, so we need to do with it. Isn't there like a game that's called like Battle Simulator where you can like simulate like creatures versus
Oh, like totally
fighting
accurate battle
each other?
simulator. Do they have
Yeah,
gorillas and
We
bears?
should like battle simulate bears versus gorilla. 100 bears versus 100 gorillas and see what
Oh,
happens.
we have to trust the robots to tell us what the bears will do. I don't believe in that nonsense. I've seen bears.
I've seen a bear,
I've seen bears. They're
Seen a
awful.
bear.
I love
and
them.
I can't help but
Bears
notice you're not dead
delicious.
though. If bears were as deadly as you said they are, why are you
I've-
here?
I mean, I was also in the military and I'm still here, so I mean, like, are there things more dangerous than bears over there? Or maybe
Bears
I'm
with
more
guns.
dangerous. I might be more dangerous than the bears. If you give the bears guns, I will support it because it's in the fucking Constitution.
Right to bear arms, exactly.
You have the, you have the
Right
right
to
to
bear
you have the
arms.
right to arm bears.
The right to arm bears.
Bears.
That's what I've always believed in. I'm pro bear all the way. I think bears should have all the same rights we do.
The minute
Speaking
you
of,
said that,
okay, Curly.
all I could think of was bear with machine gun turret on the back. Just like some sort of like automatic machine gun on their back. Like turret just like as they just like strolling through the forest. Just like
Okay.
sniping shit.
The fucking Captain Bear's just saying, like, if they would have stopped swinging through those trees, we wouldn't have had to build these things. Any more plans? Notice the Z. You gonna hide from bears in any other ways? We're gonna give them spaceships here shortly.
The fucking bear
swinging for
space
trees argument.
force.
The swinging for trees argument is the same thing that my friend says that he could beat me in a boxing fight. He is built like a fucking twig, and I am a large boy. He has a reach advantage on me, but he's like, I would just beat you in points, and he's like, I just keep moving. I was like, then I would just not move. It's not that doesn't not like just because they're in the trees doesn't mean that the bears are gonna run out of energy by trying to get up the trees. They're just gonna not go up the trees.
The bear could just take a nap.
Yeah,
The
they're
bear
like,
could just
oh
take
fuck
a
that.
nap like this fucking idiot. I'm gonna eat this honey
Yeah.
and let these bees sting me in the face until you get bored enough for me to maul you to death when you get
Yeah,
out of that tree.
It's not like a game where you sit up in the tree and the NPC tries to swing at you for like 3 hours because it doesn't know what to do. This is real life. The bear's not gonna go, oh, I better keep swinging in the air until I can eventually hit them. They're just gonna stop.
We should do a campaign where the political factors of this realm are opposing factions of druids, and one side leads the gorillas and one side leads the bears, and you have to find your way through this new zoological political nightmare of a state.
If you
That'd
want
be
to
fun.
make this one off, I would be honored to come on.
I'm just saying that sounds like it'd be fun. I'd like to DM that
I'm
because
not
I'd
opposed
like
to that actually. Yeah.
I'd like the leader of the gorilla druids to be just like, "Hey, we heard you had a quest for us," and you're just like, he'd be like, "Oh, put your teeth away!" Like he's upset. He didn't. Don't smile.
For the
Be-
gorilla
just look
druids, I have
sad.
specifically in my mind the mountain tribe from Black Panther because they like did like the full like embracing the ape type style.
I
So
can
like
do
I,
it.
I could see them.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a fun campaign.
Yeah, the gorilla druids are all like buff and fucking swole, and then the bears are like more like
Buffer and more
harvester.
swole.
Yeah,
just actual bears.
they're just actual bears.
That'd be fun.
Very
And then
close
there's
link to
another
the
one.
otter tribe.
Yeah, and there's another one where one of them have a billion lions and the other one have one of every Pokemon.
This world could be insane. It's the beauty of D&D, really, though, that it has on top of every other game. Because I definitely consider myself a gamer. I play right now. I'm stuck on For Honor. I'm playing that constantly. It's toxic. I love it.
I
Yeah,
love.
we should do a
Um,
lot of that. We're gonna do that
can-
for this actually.
Yeah, I cannot stop playing that game. But one thing that no other video game has is D&D. You can literally do whatever the fuck you
Mhm.
want, as long as it's cool with the party. as long as it's cool with the DM and you're not doing you have to be really awful for the table to be like, cool it, man. You know, like you have to really push people's boundaries. So like, it's a lot of fun because you could do whatever you want. Like, I like to play with a younger crowd a lot of the times, like kids, because I think it's really good for you just developmentally. I think it's really great for kids.
It's good social skills.
And they're just like, well, what can I do? I'm like, you can do anything. They're like, can I stab someone? And I'm like, I wouldn't recommend it, but you definitely can try.
You shouldn't. Yeah, go for it.
You're gonna learn a lesson about morals, ethics, and repercussions very quickly.
Yeah, it's also great just for creativity in general.
That
Yeah,
too,
it's very
yeah.
good.
I mean, the nice thing about D&D too is like, you know, it gives you that opportunity to like really break reality a little bit too, because I've seen, I think the most like toxic comments I get like in like any like videos I've ever done, whether TikTok or YouTube or anything, is just like, that's not how that would work in the real world. I'm just like, fuck you. It's magical. Like, I don't have to tell you. Like,
You are that guy. You literally are that guy.
I am not that guy.
You literally are that guy.
I am not that guy.
Guy to me. All the time.
To you, yes, because sometimes you're ridiculous. We're not
No,
even
I'm
gonna
not.
get it.
All
We're
my
not even...
ideas are good, and you are stifling me with your oppressive regime.
There's been plenty of instances where you've been like, I want to try this thing, and even everybody at the table is just like, okay, come on now.
Okay, all right. I'm sure a lot of people thought Einstein was weird because he was goofy, but you know, he was Einstein. So
Fucking
fuck
based.
Yeah, well, imagine Einstein played D&D. Fuck, the world would be ready for that.
That's who you guys should get on the pod. Just resurrect Einstein. Yeah.
Yeah. bring Big Man back to play D&D.
I would love to play D&D with Einstein because I would hassle him about taking too long to tally up his dice. Because when's another chance you get to ever say, like, I gave Einstein a hard time on some math? I'd be like, hey, E, it's 2d6, man.
What if you try to like do the math before and be like, oh, eight, that's it.
Hey, it's an equation, Einstein, +5 for strength. You're not used to that's not a stat. You're used to remembering.
All right, so what
broadsword?
What class does Einstein play now that we're here?
Oh, probably
Artificer.
Probably like Wizard Artificer.
Yeah, definitely.
I was definitely thinking he goes like completely off brand because like it's a fantasy world. You want to play something you're not. He's definitely a barbarian.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see
yeah.
if he.
If we're
then that was a trick question.
Yeah, if we're classifying
you
like
set us
Einstein
up for some bullshit.
Einstein himself.
Oh, you know, if you played a character that was Einstein, Wizard Artificer, 100%. But like, if it's Einstein sitting down to play a game, who is he playing?
Druid.
I'd say Bard.
The Einstein Bard goes crazy.
I think Einstein Bard. I think you'd see a side of Einstein that you weren't prepared to see. I think he'd kill it. I think his instrument would be like an electric keyboard. I think it'd be dope.
One sec, did they exist? One sec. When did Einstein die?
Oh, I mean, he helped build a nuke. I think they had fucking keyboards.
You say that, but
I don't know. But I sound pretty confident, so you shouldn't Google it and just accept it. As true.
This reminds me of like I saw this one.
Don't Google it, just believe me.
Don't Google it. I'm smiling.
Trust me.
It's the worst. Trust me, bro.
I saw this. This reminds me of like a thread. It was like talking about like when samurais like officially stopped existing versus like when Telegram started versus when JFK was alive, I think. And it was like so like and they all
Abraham
like line
Lincoln.
up over like a
Abraham
2-year
Lincoln.
period. Abe Lincoln. It was Abe Lincoln.
Lincoln
Yes, like Abe Lincoln
was
could have sent a
assassinated.
telegram to a fucking samurai. It's like excellent. Love that. That's a hypothetical that could have happened.
I like that a lot of Japanese look at the American cowboy as we look at the, Japanese samurai.
Mm.
And I think that's super cool from like a lore fantasy realm look. I could just imagine a D&D setting where there's all these like samurai-esque cowboys that are rootin' tootin' on their own with a bunch of armor. Just like riding a fucking horse named like Potato.
Yeah, I saw like there was like a thing where it was like if you wanted to do something set like on Earth, you could actually do something that was like historically accurate. You could have like a slightly retired like pirate of like the classic pirating days, an English Victorian gentleman, a cowboy, and a samurai, and that would all just be like legitimate within the timeline.
accurate, yeah.
That's pretty
I also
dope.
appreciated you use the word lore instead of history. I'm also a fan
Yeah.
of saying that.
Earth law.
Oh, Earth lore.
Lore's more fun. It's a more fun word to use.
It's a great
It
word.
is.
We
Lore
should do a
makes it-
Cantrip Cast autobiography, but it's just Cantrip Cast lore book. Just check out our lore. Fucking picture of me in like my dad's boots when I was like 1 year old. It all started here. The disaster.
The lore begins when I was born on blah blah blah.
My parents were not there.
The Doofenshmirtz backstory.
The Doofenshmirtz backstory is the best backstory. We need to, if we do more D&D together, somebody has to do the Doofenshmirtz backstory and have the Blicky. The Blicky.
The
The
Blicky.
Blickinator.
Yeah, the Blickinator.
I'm just gonna go on record. This is your fucking podcast. This trademark Steak said it first.
Fair enough.
I'll still never forget the Blicky shit because like it was. I
It
remember
caught me
like
so
one,
off guard.
me too, because like one person was like, because I gave you guys like magic items, and he was like, I pull out my gun, and I'm just like, okay, this fucking guy. Then somebody else is like, I also pull out my Blicky, and I'm like, okay. Anybody else have a gun? And like,
Well, to
somebody
be
else
fair,
is like,
mine was
"Alright."
because I was a ranger. I just flavored my bow to be a Blicky.
Yeah, and then somebody, I forget who it
Ridiculous.
was. I think it was somebody else, but like,
Hugh was the
So
main
much
one
shit
who was
went
on the
by.
Blicky train.
yeah, so much shit went by. It
Yeah.
was like getting towards like the last like fourth of that one shot, and I was like, all right, what do you do? And they were like, so I pull out my Blicky, and I'm like, God damn it.
Our one-stop shop.
Yeah,
What can't be solved with the Blicky, really?
I'm like, oh, we just all have guns
So true.
now.
I
Best
never
way to
got a
celebrate Christmas,
gun.
Blickies.
You have played plenty of characters with guns though. You've had your fair share of firearms in D&D.
Just
many
a
times have you
couple
played Grung?
times. Like twice.
You've played Grung like 9 times.
A couple times, but Grung can't count so good.
Yeah, Grung can't. Steak can. Steak not Grung.
We should have
Steak
renamed.
can't count good neither.
We should have renamed the one off rolling around the Blickmas tree.
Oh, that would've been so
That would've been good.
That would have been so much better than anything we would have come up with.
But I didn't know. I didn't know it was gonna be fucking.
I
guns
didn't know
involved.
either.
To be fair, none of us knew until it was said.
You know, nobody.
We all just rolled with it.
They're like, fuck it, I guess
Yeah.
it's gun time.
Wait a second.
What?
Didn't I make like a really, really big deal about milk in the beginning of that one?
Oh yeah, it was
Like, I
someone.
was gonna
Someone
f the
didn't drink.
bartender over milk or something.
Oh yeah, like yeah, we
Because
were all getting alcohol, and you're like, I would like milk, please. You're like,
Yeah.
And that fucking bartender made fun of me. I was gonna burn that place down. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, because they were all drinking like eggnog and stuff because it was for a Christmas party, and you're like, "Can I
Yeah.
get milk?" And I'm just
I was
like,
a fucking paladin.
"You
I
fucking
did
loser."
think
Yeah,
it took
here's
us
your
like
milk.
20 minutes. It was about 20 minutes to leave because we did talk
Yeah.
about milk for like 20 minutes.
We were gonna get a fight over milk. I remember it. It was a whole debacle.
God, yeah, we should do that again sometime. I think we should. Yeah,
I'm
I would
down.
love to do a little
be
another
awesome.
Christmas or spin-off or something
I
like that.
say we
yeah.
make somebody from their team DM. Curly says he doesn't ever get to have fun. Let's make him do it.
No.
That sounds like a volunteer.
No.
That's an army volunteer. It's like, hey. No, we're not
Shouldn't have
gonna
said
do that.
anything.
But we should definitely do something though. That'd be fun.
I'd love to do something together again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
supposed. We had talked for a while, like trying to do something monthly, but like,
Yeah.
literally as soon as like we were like, hey, let's do something monthly together, and like as soon as like we talked about it, immediately, like
We
I
both
don't
got
know,
really busy.
Cleveland is getting a hold of me. Johnny Stanton gets a hold of me. Red Nose Day happens. Book happens. Fulfillment happens. I'm just like,
Yeah.
can't fucking breathe.
Yeah, there's worse things that could happen.
Yeah.
right.
Oh my god, we're successful. This sucks.
Fucking
Like,
DJ Khaled
oh,
suffering from
I
success.
know.
Here's a random one then in the middle before Z asks something more serious. Are you aware of pulp?
God damn it. I didn't get there, so you had to.
Pulp, as in
like
like
pulp in, like,
the
orange
residue in an orange juice, the
Yeah,
leftovers, the remnants of the fruit
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
Yeah,
fuck
yeah,
pulp.
yeah, yeah.
Pulp's
Yeah,
disgusting.
pulp's fucking
Yeah.
gross.
So are you aware like of a tin of baked beans?
A tin of yeah.
You
Yeah.
mean a fucking can?
I can. I can.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
can of
can.
beans,
of
yeah.
I've heard of cans and beans in conjunction before.
So do you think that the beans are the pulp of the sauce?
No.
No.
The beans, obviously.
The beans are a whole thing. Like,
You
they're
don't buy a
beans.
can of sauce, you buy a can of beans. The sauce is the
Yeah.
remnants of the beans.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no,
what about
it-
what about salsa? Is the tomato in salsa the pulp of the salsa?
You said all
No,
those
'cause
words
it's 'cause
wrong,
it's-
and now
because
I'm
it's-
angry.
It's sliced tomatoes. It's not just the remnants of tomatoes. They're in. No.
They're still there.
This question.
It's not like we disintegrated a tomato and put like the spirit remnants past into a salsa. The fucking no, it's definitely not that
No,
way.
pulp is a mistake that never should have existed.
I got a better question
I
though
hate
for
pulp.
you. Can I ask you a question, Curly? Can I switch it
Yeah.
on you? Can I give you a
Uh-huh.
little switcher fucking roo?
Yeah.
Right, if you were like a druid, right, you could shapeshift and whatnot. What if you
Mhm.
shapeshifted into a chicken and laid an egg? When you went back into your human form, if you ate that egg, would that be cannibalism, or is that cool in your book?
That's cool. That's easy.
That's cool in your book.
That's
Yeah,
literally
no chicken anymore.
good berry with extra steps. You just go lay an egg in every day.
Extra steps.
I'm just saying, your druid could be an omelet.
Your druid could be.
Yeah.
Are you really
what-
losing anything? It does that. Do you lose a
One
portion?
sec. Actually, here's the question.
Fine.
Actually, what's inside the egg? Is it chicken or is it
You're the
person?
one. You were very excited to
That's how we
find
fucking
out a
hatch a
minute
human.
ago.
It depends what you go up to when you were turned into the
Yeah.
chicken. If it's
I feel
fertilized
No,
or
no.
not.
This is sort of like Schrodinger's egg, bro. We don't know until you open it, and you were very excited to fucking pop this egg open.
Yeah. Well, no. I was just gonna scramble the
walk
egg
it
if I had to.
back.
You
I was
know,
gonna
Just
scramble-
scramble the egg. Didn't care what it's on.
No, I'm a boiled egg kind of guy. I would never need to open it. It would be boiled by that point and eaten. Wouldn't even worry about it.
You would never even know. You
I'm
can
But-
imagine-
little worried
boiling an
about
egg
it.
and there's
I
just a
think if
chicken
you turn into a chicken lay an egg, you're laying a chicken egg. That's the way.
Wait. Also, I'm. not to get
The real
too
question is,
political,
do you
but
take
I'm a
damage
man.
when the egg gets
Do
eaten?
I lay chicken? Does that work?
I didn't say you turn into a rooster. I said you turn into a chicken.
Oh well, okay. I forgot that there's a different name.
The
Can you
roosters
do
are
that?
the one.
Can
The roosters are the one with the male genitalia.
can druids do that?
Can
In the lore?
druids decide what type of animal to turn
What
into?
gender they are? Yeah.
I
think
don't
that's
see
like a-
why
I don't see
not.
why not. Yeah, I think that's like at the DM like discretion.
Yeah, like in
I'm just
that-
curious. I don't know. I'm asking the question.
I have the answer, I think, because I think that you should be able to, because in NADPOD, they had a druid, and she would turn into animals, but she'd always make them pregnant.
Oh yeah, she did. All
If
the
you
time.
can make
Yeah.
animals pregnant because you think it's funny, I don't see why you couldn't be like,
One sec.
I'm
Is that
a
an
girl.
infinite? Is that infinite food machine that you've just created? Then
They did listen.
That's all I'm saying.
Listen, you need to listen to NADPOD. They did some fucked
very
up
good.
stuff. They
It's
did
very
some,
good.
Yeah, Emily Axford did some fucking ridiculous stuff as a pregnant fucking everything all the time.
Emily Axford is a fucking badass. I
Yeah.
don't care.
She was like, I turned into a pregnant dolphin. I'm like, fucking what? Like,
She'd be like, why? And she'd be like, can you tell I'm pregnant?
she has actually invented infinite food glitch in real life.
It's
That's what-
They never went that.
This
They
is
never
real
went
life.
that far because they didn't want to get canceled. But
So I
that's
guess if you
fucking-
lay the egg and then you turn back, does the egg stay laid?
that's what I'm saying. Okay,
Oh.
because Einstein said, no mass can something.
Can
And,
neither be created nor destroyed.
Yeah, imagine if I was prepared enough. I had Einstein quotes pulled up on another tab. I'd have fucking killed you guys. Y'all have been like, Stick's a genius.
Not only
If
did he
we-
foresee the Einstein tangent, he foresaw the pregnant
Yeah.
tangent.
I'm so prepared to full circle this one back. Mastermind.
Turn into a cow, I produce milk.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
could.
Have I made
Yeah.
infinite milk machine?
Well, I mean, cows are sort of infinite milk machines if you think about it.
Yeah, but like,
Just buying
So
milk,
yes,
Caleb.
yes, you would turn into a
Yeah.
fucking cow.
but like, how much energy? How much energy? Do
You have the
How much-
powers of a fucking cow, Curly.
and I'm gonna use them to drink my own milk.
You'd have that ability because you're a
mean-
cow. Cows
mean,
can fucking do that. It's
people
not a
had a-
special cow.
I mean, people have had to drink their own piss to survive in the wilderness.
I was gonna say
like,
women can
I
drink
don't
their own breast milk, but drinking your own piss is another way to go with that.
Well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
there's been stories of people
But-
who had to drink their own pee. Yeah, it's
But what I
a
mean
thing.
is, what's the diminishing return? Like the diminishing returns
What's
on
the
that?
diminishing?
Like at what point? Like how much milk do you have to drink to where you gain less energy from the milk? But when you turn back, do you still lose the energy you lost from producing the milk? Like these are important questions that need to be answered.
I would say technically no, because when you wild shape or polymorph into something, you revert back to your normal form with all your hit points.
Yeah, so that's
Oh wow, we've broken the game.
Infinite milk machine.
We've broken the game. Infinite milk machine.
Listen, I don't understand why all druids don't become farmers. They can fucking imagine like your egg sales or your milk sales at that point. You want to work on your own time.
Do you stud out all your own animals though?
No.
You sell your own sperm.
No, fucking being a farmer and being a druid is sus. I don't trust that at all.
Now that it's
change into like 40 different animals a day.
Like, never mind.
I'm just saying, it's like, hey, what's that dude doing with all those fucking animals? Like, it's cool, he's a druid, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you walk in his house, there's like 40 eggs on the floor and like 16 buckets of milk, and he's like, oh yeah, ignore those.
How do you get that grizzly bear and that fucking gorilla to hang out and be cool? There's something sus going on over there.
If you cut off your own leg and sold it and then came back, would you would still have your leg? Could you sell your own meat? Does it disappear? If you lose a limb when you're
Curly, it's a very viable option.
I will put my personal rule out there. I say if you
as well.
Yeah, if you're polymorphed as something and you get like fucking decapitated, or if you're wild shaped,
you're L
plus
plus ratio.
You're pretty much L plus ratio. If you get decapitated and you're a fucking chicken, you're dead. Or if you lose like or you lose like an arm or a leg in like a polymorph like form, you're coming back into your shape like with a missing fucking arm or hand. That's how I would rule it.
That is actually also exactly how I do it. Like if someone polymorphs into an ant and they're like, when I die as an ant, I come back into a human. If somebody steps on you,
you're dead.
I'm fucking killing your character, bro. I'm sorry. I don't know what you thought this was coming to my house with your nachos and your cheese and your dips. But you're going to leave disappointed and still hungry.
I'm just thinking about the food glitch.
I've done that before, where like a druid has like polymorphed or like wild shaped into something, and like a bear, and like somebody has a vorpal sword, and they slice the bear's arm off. They come back and they go back to their form, but they've lost an arm, and like it's an issue because I just feel like that makes sense. Like I guess I mean, it just to me that just kind of makes sense, on a personal standpoint.
I'm just still on the infinite food glitch sort of mindset. I'm just seeing how many limbs I can cut off and sell before it's an issue.
I have an answer to that one. For my home rule for that, actually, it's sort of counterintuitive because it goes against my initial questioning, but it was a thought project. In my D&D games, any matter that like if you laid the egg, that matter I would still consider a part of your body. So when you formed back, I'd say that energy would still be like, as that energy like coalesces back into the air and you reform into your form, I'd say that egg
all of a sudden
would dissipate.
The egg becomes your sword. Like
I don't know if you'd have to reinsert the egg, Curly.
It automatically goes up there. It like just like straight up your ass. You're fine. That's where eggs come from, obviously.
At this point, I was thinking it was more of like a illustrious vapor, but I also like your delivery method because I'm from North Carolina and we do potato guns, and I can imagine some funny scenarios.
God.
You're just gonna randomly receive a message from me like in a few months' time, being like, "So I've worked it out. You can cut off 6 arms, 4 gallons of milk, 4 eggs a day without losing enough blood."
We're gonna be rich. I just need your initial investment of $2,000 and a Ford Miata.
So on the vein of like losing like an arm or a leg in like a wild shape or a polymorph form, what if the form has like 8 legs and then you lose 1 leg?
I see you
take a
lose like
finger.
a finger. Yep, finger. Yeah,
Take a
we're on the
finger.
same,
Finger.
same
Or a
page,
nose or an ear. Take something
some
like
sort of
that.
like a phalange of sorts or something. You know?
Yeah. If it was like an emotional battle, like a BBEG fight, I would do something like a scar on the face or an ear or something visual that could be
Mhm.
pointed out and used for emotional
Yeah, nothing
investment
like
later.
nothing mechanically. If it was like if you were a
Yeah.
giant spider and you lose one of your legs as a giant
Yeah.
spider, like
You don't want to ruin
big
somebody's
fucking
stats for no
yeah.
reason,
By
but
losing a
it's
pinky finger,
okay.
you know.
It's better to be like, boom, you lost your finger. So next time you run into BBEG, he could be like, hey, what's up, shocker? Or, like he could make, he could give you a hard time and you could be like,
Yeah.
I actually dislike the BBEG. He's making fun of me for something.
Yeah.
Like it's fun.
Yeah, I love
It
that.
adds
But like
that more involvement for
and
sure.
we've had scenarios like that where it's like I may have like taken away like a character's like arm or leg for a scenario, but like and
I've
that's
lost
a
all my
lot of that
powers
a lot
at
of
one
that's
point.
a lot of that's RP reasons, but we find a way to like revert back and like make up for that. So for like Tack was in our main campaign for the podcast, and he fell off of the tower like thousands of feet high. And technically, by rule, like it was an airship. He fell off an airship thousands of feet in the air. By D&D rules, the max fall damage is like 20d6.
That's exactly what it is.
It's 20d6. That's a max stick for fall damage. However, when you fall thousands of feet off of a fucking airship, there's something bad happened to you. He got paralyzed. Like he broke his spine. So they had to carry him around like in a bag, essentially. And eventually, he got his legs amputated and got robot legs. So his character was still the same. It's just for flair. He now had like robot spider legs. So he looked like Darth Maul, essentially.
I was about to say
Yeah,
as soon as you said robot spider legs.
Yeah. The way you try to do it is be like, hey, you're playing D&D, you made a decision, there was a consequence, give me an episode to get you some new legs, to keep the continuity of the story going. And nobody's ever been like, no, I don't want to lose my legs. This is bullshit. Because you're like, hey,
Like, you're gonna get them back,
yeah, like it's gonna be cool, man. We'll get you some cool shiny ones, but you are an idiot. You did get flung off the airship. You did get paralyzed, bud. We're getting the bag.
Yeah, that thing did happen.
I've played with a few idiots.
Me too.
Yeah, like you say, like nobody would say no. I'm like, no. I've met people who would be like, no, that's not gonna happen to my character. I'm like, yeah, it is.
But it is.
That's like as much as you want to say, oh, it's not. It's like if you start like a fucking war with like 20 people and you're one person, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like it's not. That's not how that works. You're not the main character here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you attack the king in his quarters, expect to be arrested.
No.
Yeah. And to add on to that point, Curly, I will say that if anybody at my table said no, that will not happen to my character, I'd say, well, then you can play at a different table. Honestly.
Well, that's why I don't. That's why I don't play with them anymore.
Well, there you go. That's what I'm saying.
Because the whole
You
thing
just-
basically broke apart at that point. So.
Yeah, that's a bad attitude to have.
Yeah. It main character syndrome some people have. Not
It's
part
a
of it.
bad attitude to have. I've seen it in D&D. I think everybody has.
I'll say,
But
in this vein,
for
do you
the
guys
most
have any
part-
DM horror stories?
Any that I want to tell on air, I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure. It depends because some people get very, very passionate. I guess maybe is the word, and take it a little too seriously.
I had a bunch of football players come over when they were about 14. They were my wife's little sister's like friends. They came over for a couple like birthday parties and whatnot. They saw that I played D&D. They wanted to learn. They started coming over. They're all like football players in high school, and that's all they did was go to the gym and play football. I guess I had all my dice out one day because I hadn't cleaned up after a session, and they just had seen Lord of the Rings recently and wanted to give it a try. But they had football brain, so all four of them pretty much made paladins, barbarians. They were all like dragonborns and Goliaths. And I was like, your mission is to go to this bar and talk to a guy to get the quest. And that took about 3 hours. They fucking got to the bar. They wanted to find, they were like, are there girls here? And I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, there has to be, right? It wouldn't make sense if there fucking wasn't, right? This isn't an all-male bar.
Yucky women.
They actually went into a gay bar. It's like, sorry.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, but I didn't want to like throw them off or something either.
Right,
So I was
right.
just like, yeah, there's chicks. And they're like, I go up to one and I'm like, what's up, bitch? And I'm like, okay, yeah, she doesn't like that. She's going to try to slap you. And he's like, oh, if she hits me, I'm hitting her back. So 3 hours later, after they got the shit kicked out of them by the entire bar, they were like, "Fucking D&D's hard," and I was like,
No, it's not. You're just an idiot.
I was like, "Dude, you remember how you came to my house to play D&D?" And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "You remember how it all worked out?" And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Imagine if you'd have come to my house and been like, 'Hey,' and punched me in the face. We would not have had a session." That is essentially what you just made me DM for you guys. It was a fucking train wreck.
Yeah.
And we've been playing ever since.
Yeah.
They're 18 and 19 now, and they still come over to play. They
I
love
do
it.
have, I do have
Oh, that's
one, I guess, like minuscule horror story of like when I was a player, and it was like my first experience with like somebody that just did some really shitty stuff as a DM.
Yeah.
I was playing in a game, and we were playing. This is years ago. Oh my god, I'm cool with the guy now, like the DM, because like I was like, hey man, that was shitty, and he was like, yeah, that was shitty, so we're cool. But years ago, I was playing like a dragon. No, I was playing a rogue. Like I played like a little halfling rogue, because like haha, edgy rogue, blah blah blah. And I was like four sessions in, my character died. We were playing Curse of Strahd. That module's hard. I fucking died. It happens. Cool. Whatever. There was one session that I couldn't make because like I had like work stuff I was doing, or like something important came up. I had to cancel. They still played, but I just couldn't play. My character was dead anyways. I had to miss, so it's cool. Gave me a week to make with a new character. I was playing the Dragonborn Barbarian. He killed my character within the first like 2 minutes of me introducing my character. He knocked me off of a cliff that was like 200 feet tall, and just he's like, yeah, you're dead. And I was like,
Absolutely based.
I'm just like, yeah. Like, the party was fighting a tree ant, and like they were like, oh, from the top of the mountain behind the tree ant, you see this Dragonborn Barbarian. I'm like, it's me, and I run down. And what do you do for your first turn? And I was like, I do this. He's like, all right, cool, you missed. And he's like, the tree ant goes, he's gonna smack you off the cliff. And I was like, all right, yeah. He's like, he hits you off the cliff. You fall 300 feet and you die. And I'm just like, you have to roll that damage up, Chief. I don't get like a strength save or like a deck save. I can't try to grab on anything. He's like, no, you're just dead. I'm just like, huh. Well, I guess I'm gonna like leave then. So I was just like, it was the first 5 minutes of the session, and like we played for like 4 hours, and I'm just like, I was like just in a shit mood because like I spent like a week on the character, just like coming with like a really solid character. I'm just like, huh. Well, I'm just gonna go home then.
Just speed run another character in that
D&D.
4 hours.
I want to play D&D with that guy, and I want to be the DM. I want to be like, "Hey, everybody, welcome to the cans. You're dead."
And you're
And then we
You
can just pick him off.
You stepped on a rig. You stepped on a rig. Hey, in the temple, you're fucked. You're dead. Oh.
They meet in the tavern like they all do, and it's like as he's having his drink, it's like it's poison, no save, you're dead. It's like son of a bitch.
According to the lore, you willfully ingested that poison. No saving throw. What poison was it? It's death poison. It kills you.
Like I'm a warforged, and you're dead.
You can't make a check for what poison it was. You drank it.
It's in the. It's in the. I lost my fucking page. Jesus,
It's what happened whenever
this
Brew
new
changes into
third-party
a cow.
TheCantripCast, a collective of poisons. That's what it's in. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, it's crazy you died. You know, Netflix is really cool. It just feels like that's such an asshole thing to do. It's funny.
D&D's fun. I love D&D.
It's great.
It's kind of like I said, kind of looping back to the start. It feels a little unreal. Like everything we're doing and stuff now. Like we're getting ready to put together book 3, and we're ready for it. It's can't say what it is yet. We've got a meeting tomorrow regarding it, and then we're going to have an official decision to make, and then we can make an official announcement to everybody and get that on the road. We're super excited for it.
Sponsored by Malibu Rum. It's rum it's straight from the island's mouth. Buy it.
Legal reasons, no, that is not true. For anybody.
And I feel like
I
that
have Malibu up behind me.
has been the LSF podcast. Do I have Malibu as well? I'm pretty sure I do. This is a fucking party house. There's bound to be Malibu around. Yeah, this has been the LSF podcast. Thank you guys so much for coming on. This has been infinitely more fun than I thought it would be. I expected more D&D, but I'm so glad with every conversation we've had.
I think this is a perfect representation of what D&D is, because if we're being honest,
just vibing.
Yeah, D&D is just like a lot of the times when we play D&D, we're just kind of chilling, vibing, and honestly, shit gets pretty fucking derailed. So I mean, like it's kind of normal that like a podcast episode where it was like, we're gonna talk about D&D, just got fucking derailed into who would win, a gorilla or a bear? You know?
How much of your own milk could you drink before?
Yeah.
That is literally every game of D&D ever played.
Yeah.
We have to kill Zagracliff, evil lich barbarian. I'm trying to fucking see how much milk I can get out of this cow, boss. I'll get the lich later, boss. I gotta get this fucking cow. The villagers need the milk. They said there's potions they'll give me if I get all the milk out of the cow, if I squeeze it real hard. It's every D&D game. It just gets derailed immediately.
We've had games get derailed literally within the first like 30 seconds. It's like, all right, guys, you're in the town. I cast fireball. God, fuck.
Brandon did a stream where he wanted me as a player, and it was called the Off the Railroad stream. Like, it was designed to go off the fucking railroads. So we start, and I immediately like killed somebody, and he was like, "What the fuck, steak?" And I was like, "Fucking, this was you asked for this." I don't know what you did.
Easy stream where it's like, hey, I want you guys to be as ridiculous as possible. I should have clarified. Let me get through the fucking introduction first. But it was like, all right, you're in this tavern. You see all these people. I fucking stabbed some. All right, well.
All right, well. Them's the breaks, I guess.
Yep. So thanks for having us on.
Yeah. Our people,
yes,
all fucking 10 of you, go check out the TheCantripCast. They're absolutely fucking dope. You have the next campaign is coming out, I believe, right? You guys have done auditions for that, if I'm not mistaken.
We have not done auditions for it. We're asking around.
Okay.
Essentially right now we are going to be doing like some auditions for it. We're not doing like an open casting call or anything because I feel like that would just flood our emails.
Right.
We're
I
reaching out
know
to people that we know personally. We really want to have a very tight knit group for the next session or for the next campaign. The thing I realized the most over the couple of years of doing this is your best campaigns and sessions are going to come from the people that you 100% vibe with and have good chemistry with. So that's what we're looking for. And we want to get that started by next year. So we're taking kind of the rest of this year to chill, relax, get book 3 written. We do have our mini series that we just ran, which is coming to an end, which is Hell on Haxos. We did that with Johnny Stanton, Steak, or Paul.
Check out Jitterbug.
Our friend Lindsay. That was a lot of fun. It was like a little spin-off. I'm thinking about doing like a little Christmas like 4-part series as well too for December.
Christmas, you say?
Fun like that, just like a little fill-in. Like as for main campaign stuff, yeah, like next year we're looking for casting right now. It's gonna be a little different though. Instead of doing 4 players, we're just gonna do 3. Because I feel like because we do a shorter format of like an hour to an hour and a half long episodes, that if we were to do 3 players instead of 4, we could probably get more accomplished in that time span that we do our episodes. Because the focus is only on 3 players, and I feel
Yeah,
like
how much time do you want to have per player? 20 minutes a player, or every time you add a player, you're taking away from the other players. 3 is a magical number.
Yeah, especially for the time that we do our episodes. So,
Mhm.
but all good things with time. We're asking around, and we're gonna take our time and really get a solid cast for hopefully what is gonna be one of our best campaigns we've ever done.
Oh yeah, that's always the goal. It's always better than the last one.
Better and better.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. And if you guys are from them and you would care to follow any of us, I am NoticeTheZ. I do variety streaming and game shows mainly. I'm trying to just like do 1.5 million game shows. That's my jam. I love doing game shows and like running production on stuff. And that's the
Why do we never get invitations to do cool stuff like game shows?
Because I feel like that would be punching above my weight level. But if you guys want invites to game shows, I'm down to send you guys invites to game shows.
Nice. Doing stuff like this is appreciated at times because like
it's fun.
Even though we're not playing D&D, we're still talking about it, but like we also like doing other things, you know? It's a nice break away from like the stress of like what we're doing to do something. We're still like, we're still doing content, but like, hey, sometimes breaking away from D&D for like a night, it's kind of nice. It is, just to break up the monotony a little bit. So
fair enough. Curly, what do you do?
I would love to come in and kick your ass in some Uno. So.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, and I'm.
Sorry.
No, go for it, Kelly.
Can I say something?
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, what's up, Steak?
I was just kidding. I'm an asshole. You go ahead.
I literally stream once in a blue moon. I streamed literally like 2 days ago, explained the first like 600 chapters of One Piece because I was so bored.
I was mad about that because
Okay.
like I keep like I love watching Curly streams. Like he's like one of like 2 people I like actually watch live. Motherfucker goes live while I'm at TwitchCon. I was like, you son of a bitch! I can't sit and watch a Curly stream right now.
And then other than that, I just do stuff with Z mainly and help him with stuff.
Yeah,
and
if you ever want to see
all the
Curly,
time.
come to the NoticeTheZ stream. He's on like every other stream I do.
Always there. And then Lanigal.
Yeah, and I'm LionEagle22_25. Going to be getting back into streaming after a hiatus of being very busy. Hopefully doing some gameplay challenges and things like that, and hopefully some new, more custom tailored content around me to come in the future.
Is
Hell yeah.
Twits and Crits making a return?
Maybe something in the near future with that sort of thing.
Because Lion Eagle also has a D&D podcast of sorts.
Well, I had one episode of a D&D podcast.
No, there was 2 episodes.
I also thought there was 2 because I was there for both of them.
Yeah, there was 2, but yeah, the co-host of that now lives in Japan, so some reworking will need to happen with that.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's
thank
been
you very much.
amazing.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was
to
great to be here.
break away and just bullshit for like an hour or so and just talk. Yeah.